I'm Steve Barboni, chair of the philosophy department. I'm very glad that so many people will join us today. We will start with a land acknowledgement. For millennia, the Kumeyaay people have been part of this land. This land has nourished, healed, protected, and embraced them for many generations in a relationship of balance and harmony. As members of the San Diego State community, we acknowledge this legacy. We promote this balance and harmony, and we find inspiration from this land, the land of the Kumeyaay. Now, I repeat, the whole session is being recorded, and it will appear later on the SDSU philosophy website. For those who would like to see this with closed captioning, you can find a button at the bottom of your screen, just off center to the right, usually in most people, for most people. If you click that button, you should be able to see the closed captioning. Again, the ceremony, as it is recorded. Please keep yourselves on mute unless you wish to speak. You will be invited to speak anytime. Okay, that housekeeping stuff is out of the way. So we can really begin now. And so I'm very happy to welcome here in this Zoom room, it's the best we can do, in a Zoom room, the graduates of the class of 2021, our honored guests and family, our distinguished guests, we have a couple, and the faculty of the San Diego State Philosophy Department. I, Steve Barboni, I'm the chair. I'm very happy to share with you this happy occasion. I know this is not what anybody planned for or wanted when you started your academic career at San Diego State. Nobody thought, yay, I can't wait till graduation where I can sit at my house and watch it on a screen. But you know, the world changes. This is the best we can do. It doesn't diminish the joy and the pride and the feeling of accomplishment that everybody should be sharing right now. To our graduating seniors and MA students, I welcome you to our ranks. You're one of us now. You're graduates. Congratulations. You've made it. Now, at times like this, people think somebody has to say something meaningful and deep. And so, you know, I'll do that, just to kind of make it official. But we know the real reason we're here is to celebrate each and every one of you, our graduates. And we will have that chance to recognize each person one by one. I hope you will all share something with us. Now, this is mostly to the parents and family members. When you told them you were going to become a philosophy major, they probably wondered why. What would anybody do that for? Shouldn't you get a degree in something real, something useful, like nursing, like business, like political science, like journalism, like something people know what that is? Now, here at San Diego State, so parents, it could be worse. We also offer a degree in adult recreation and substance abuse. So maybe philosophy isn't so bad. But still, what does somebody do with a degree in philosophy? A few hardcore types like me, Professor Warritko, Professor Reyes, Professor Stramondo, Franciscati, Draz, others here. Okay, yeah, we managed to get jobs. But for most people, what's the point of philosophy? Shakespeare has one of his characters say, "There was never yet a philosopher who could endure a toothache patiently." And yes, that's true. But suppose you were a biologist or an accountant that doesn't make toothaches less painful. So it still makes sense to wonder, what is a philosophy degree good for? And that's a question I'm going to ask. What is philosophy good for? Now, everybody thinks you've spent years of studying, and especially in this last year, very difficult year studying. And so you want your degree to make sense. This has to be worth it. The degree has to be good for something. But what is the something it's good for? Well, hey, you're philosophers. You know. If you're going to talk about something, you have to define your terms. So what does good for mean? Now, if good for means you have a degree in philosophy, you have an instant 6-figure salary waiting for you, you're going to automatically get the respect of all your friends and family members. You're going to get that hot babe trophy wife or that boy toy husband. If it means you're going to have the hottest car and live in the best neighborhood, well, yeah, that's not what good for means here. Okay? So maybe not. I think even the non-philosophers here know that good for doesn't really mean any of these things. So what is philosophy good for? Oh, well, it's good for finding out the truth. It's good for knowing about reality. But I'm not so sure. The truth is often confused with facts. And if you want to know facts, ask Alexa. Check with Hey Google. The internet has lots of facts. You don't need to be a philosopher to know facts, and the internet really does it better. So I'm not sure that philosophy is just good for knowing facts, knowing the truth. Okay, so then what is philosophy good for? It's true. If you look in the newspaper, if anybody still reads a newspaper, if you look in the help wanted section, you're not going to find any entry that says wanted philosopher. That doesn't happen. But ask yourself, what is it that philosophers do better than anybody else? And what is it that employers want from their employees? What do we value from our friends and family members? And here's what philosophy might be good for. Okay? We know how to think. We know how to think well. We know how to think inside the box, outside the box. We can think about the forest and the trees. This is our special skill, how to think and think differently. It's very valuable. The director of career services told me once that in all the time he's been here, there has never been a philosophy student who applied to med school and was not accepted. So maybe philosophy is good for that. Maybe philosophy is good for anybody who values thinking, creativity. Ask yourself, what job, what sort of friendship does not care about thinking well and thinking differently? If you can figure that one out, okay, philosophers aren't good at those jobs, but they are good at all the other jobs where thinking is required. They are good at all the relationships where thought matters. Now, I could leave it there and just say, Yeah, see, philosophy actually is good for getting a job because philosophy teaches thinking and thinking is good. That's what employers want. But I can't, because I think that would be a bit of a letdown. Because you did not spend your years here at a university, especially the last year, just so that you could say, woohoo, now I can get a job. Now I can go to work. Now I can become a cog in some other kind of institution. Right? A university education, especially one in philosophy, is something more than an extended work training program. So philosophy is not just good for work preparation, it's good for something else. At a meeting not long ago, the vice president was speaking to all the department chairs and asked a very difficult question and wanted our advice. And kind of everybody was sitting on her hands. Everybody was looking in his own lap, kind of not answering. And the vice president finally turned to me and said, well, Steve, you're a philosopher. You should have an answer. Isn't that what philosophers do? Have answers? And I thought, here's my chance, maybe, to help out. No, philosophy is not about coming up with answers. Again, we have Google for that. Philosophy is good for asking the right question. Having a good question is much more important than having the right answer. And so what are the kinds of good questions philosophers can ask? Ought I marry for love? Is this candidate or ballot proposition just? Am I doing the right thing? Is there really such a thing as a just war? Should I change my religious beliefs? What does it mean to be happy? These are the questions philosophy asks. And being able to pose questions like this to yourself, rather than responding to other people's questions, to what they ask you, asking your own question enhances your life, puts you in control instead of being controlled. So kind of that's it. Philosophy is good for asking the right questions, the ones that ultimately matter to you, your most personal, deepest level. Now, some are going to say, no, getting the right answer is more important, but you don't get the right answer unless you have a good question. Okay, now this is not some chicken and the egg kind of thing. Well, which comes first, the answer or the question? Obvious, the question comes first. You can't get a good answer unless there's a good question first. That's what philosophy is good for. And how do we get the right questions? Because philosophy teaches us to think, well, in different ways. Even Michel Foucault, in his book, Use of Pleasure. So yes, maybe it's a surprise to some of you. I have read Foucault's book. Ask, what is the use of thinking unless we can use it to think differently? Again, here is where philosophers excel. Here is where we are unique. Thinking differently allows us to ask our questions, the ones that matter to us, not the ones that are kind of programmed into the system, not the ones that the world already offers us. Right? We can think along with everybody else, and this kind of puts us in a rut. But asking your own question helps you escape that rut. It helps you see the limitations of the right answer, to answer, for the right questions, the ones that they ask you. You can think. You ask your own questions. You don't wait for what they ask you. So it's your question that matters. And you alone can ask it. What is philosophy good for? Philosophy doesn't teach us what to think, it teaches us how to think. And once you know how, you are in the position to lead, you are in the position to ask the questions, the ones that matter to you. I began by posing a question. Not an accident. And now in a few moments, it will be up to our fellow philosophers, our new graduates, to be asking your own questions. What is it that matters most to you? Remember, the answer is not that important. The question is what matters. In some moments, each person, each of our graduates will be recognized. We will allow that person to have a chance to say a few words. It's not mandatory. Don't have a panic attack. Okay, you don't have to talk, but you could, and I hope you do. Even if it's thanks mom, thanks dad, thanks professors. Even if it's just that, that's fine. But I hope you have something else to say. Tell us what you think. Tell us what is your special question, so that you know kind of the order of things. Just before that, though, our department's most outstanding graduating senior will be recognized. This student was selected by the faculty not only for her excellent academic record and performance, but for being able to strive and flourish, especially in this awful last year, which, thank the stars, we are leaving now. She will offer us a few words, and then we will recognize the instructor she chose as the most influential faculty member. Then one of our graduating MA students, chosen by her peers, will address us. I am sure she will give us some keen and thought-provoking insights. Then, yes, that's why I'm here. We'll recognize our BA students by name, one at a time. After that, we recognize our MA students. Not done, though. After we've recognized everybody, the professors will be moved to respective breakout rooms to chat with students or to meet with them, maybe their families too, who want to visit with them. I'll use this moment now to acknowledge our department's administrative coordinator, Kim Kennelly. This ceremony, and pretty much all of you know, almost nothing could happen if it weren't for her. Assisting in today's program, we have to not acknowledge Professors Marie Draz and Joseph Stramondo. Graduating student Gabriela Peñaranda is helping with this program, and so is Charles Duddy, our assistant in the office. So on behalf of all of us, thanks. I've talked enough. I think it's going to be much more interesting to hear from you, our graduates, and we will begin with our most outstanding graduating senior, Yazareli Gonzalez. Thanks. I look forward to hearing what she has to say.
Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. I hope you guys are having a great day so far. And thank you, Dr. Barboni, for explaining to everyone what our philosophy degree is going to be good for, because that is a common question. Okay, so I just want to say thank you for to everyone for being part of a special day that is today. And I would like to share my experience with you guys, but first I want to say it's such an honor to be recognized as the most outstanding graduating senior. So my path into philosophy was a bit windy. I did not come into SDSU with the intention of being a philosophy major. First, I came into SDSU with the intention of being an anthropology major. So in the spring of 2019, I completed my coursework in anthropology. I was on track to graduate, but I felt like something was missing in my academic development. So I decided to postpone graduation to pick up psychology as a second major. Then in the fall of 2019, I came across Dr. Francis Scotty's Philosophy of Language course on Web Portal, and I was very intrigued by the description. I met with Dr. Francis Scotty, asked if I could take his course the following semester, and he approved. So in the spring of 2020, I took my first upper division philosophy course, and wow, I was so fascinated and delighted by the readings and class discussions. So in the fall of 2020, I chose philosophy over psychology. And I guess zooming here before you, I know that I made the right choice. I feel like I gained many skills to conjure up at least partial answers to most questions, and I am grateful for getting to know such a remarkable field. I found that philosophy is very unique. Far-fetched ideas are nonetheless possibilities, and as Dr. Barboni said, we are encouraged to think outside the box. Philosophy allows for much individuality, but ultimately there is great team effort in being critical and philosophical discussion for a better understanding. I'm sure many of us agree that our time in the philosophy department has helped us develop a wide range of skills that are applicable to many areas of life. For example, the contents of some courses have served us in our personal development, like in discovering our core values, what it means to live a virtuous life, and what makes us authentic. The contents of other courses have taught us to be wary of informational claims and to do our own research following careful logic before accepting those claims. I believe this is extremely important, especially in today's time, where arguably technology is evolving quicker than what we can keep up with, and where skewed information tends to spread rapidly on a global scale. So thank you to our professors for such well put together courses, but mostly thank you for sharing your knowledge and wisdom. I know you have inspired us in countless ways just by being yourselves. For instance, anyone who has taken a class with Dr. Francis Scotty has likely heard him tell a student or two, slow down. I've never asked him to elaborate on that, but drawing from the times he has said it to me, I think he means to literally decelerate your thoughts and to literally decelerate your speech. Slow down. It's a simple yet powerful utterance. As you slow down, you give yourself more attention. You become more aware of the words you use to convey your thoughts, as well as the meanings of your thoughts. I have practiced this in my philosophical thinking ever since, and it has worked out well. This then inspired me to make slow down a practice for my everyday life. We may find it easy to get caught up inside our minds at times, and telling ourselves to slow down can make us more aware of ourselves, of being here, and that there is a whole world for us to interact with and appreciate. Put simply, my experience in philosophy has been fulfilling. I hope that is true for all graduating students here today. Moreover, I extend my most genuine congratulations and hope that everyone is excited for what's next, because I truly believe there are great things in the future. I also acknowledge that unexpected, intimidating changes may be inevitable along the way, and at those times, I motivate you to accept the changes and to never forget that you are adaptable, hence capable of achieving anything. Once again, congratulations to everyone, and may our amazing journeys continue. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts, your experience. I'm sure many of your classmates and fellow students would say, yeah, that happened to me too. Yeah, that's exactly what I think. Thank you. And again, congratulations on your excellent achievements and to have been recognized by the department.
Thank you.
You know, the most outstanding graduating senior has several responsibilities, but don't worry, you fulfilled them. So you're okay. One is to share some insights, nicely done. The other is to name the most influential faculty member, and you have done that. And I guess, drum roll, please. The person that you've named is Dr. Well,
Oh, I did it for you.
tell us what makes him so special. I think he's okay too, but why do you think he's pretty good?
Well, definitely just, like I said, he just kind of is the one that introduced me to philosophy when I went to go and talk to him. And so I've just kind of always looked up to how he takes his time in just in describing the things that he is teaching, and he just does it so well, so carefully. And I realized that that helps so much in everything that I have done in philosophy and in other courses. And like I said, just in life in general. So I think it was his style of teaching that really made an impact on me and how I learn and how I apply what I learn.
Very nice. Thank you for sharing. Professor Franciscati, will you share anything with us? You have a good reputation, so you got to live up to it now.
Well, this is a great honor, first. And I really appreciate it. I'm kind of touched. Well, everyone knew I was touched in the head, but this means a lot. Thank you. I usually don't look at notes, but when I heard I'm following Yazzarelli, I got very nervous and thought, oh, I better really prepare to live up to this. And I'm afraid I won't do it, but here goes. There's just some thoughts. First, I don't know if I mirrored my video. I don't know if congratulations behind me is going the right direction. Okay. You see, I'm just getting used to this when it's going to go away, thankfully, hopefully. Congratulations to all the graduates and also the friends and family. Maybe some of you are here. Welcome. And I know it's been a long, hard road, especially the last year. And not just for the graduates. Family and friends have had to put up with the intense curiosity and highly argumentative nature of these graduates. And listening to them, you've probably learned that philosophers are rather strange, a bit odd. And odd, at the very least, because of the very strange things that we talk and think about. I ask you, the friends and family of the graduates, to recall some of the bizarre questions and topics you've been forced to listen to. I can't help but mention a few. You may have heard of this idea. Suppose that we're all just brains in a vat. You're a brain in a vat, no body at all. You have lots of thoughts and feelings and sensations, but they're all produced in you, not by objects in the external world that you mistakenly think exist, but by some evil neurosurgeon. He's got to be evil. That's important. And he's tampering with your brain with electrodes, producing in you all these images of things you think are real, including your own body, but they're not real. Isn't that possible? And then you say, no, that can't be. Or maybe you say, just leave me alone, or something like that. But then the questions and the ideas continue. Suppose we don't have even a brain. No brain, no body. We are just an immaterial mind. And that's it. Maybe all those things around us are merely collections of ideas. Isn't that possible? And you might think that's ridiculous, but your graduates, your beloved philosophers point out that there's nothing to prove that that's false. Any sensations you might have that might lead you to think that there's an external world might be part of just these hallucinations the evil neurosurgeon produced, or maybe everything is just a collection of ideas. And they're right. There's nothing to prove otherwise. Now, this is very confusing. And it continues. Suppose that your body is broken down into its constituent particles, and each of those tiny bits are sent super fast to some remote region of space, and then your body is reassembled. Would that still be you? And you say, of course. Star Trek has been around since the 60s. We know that that would still be you. But imagine that when your body has been broken down into its constituent particles, those are duplicated. And the duplicated particles are also sent to a different remote region of space. So now we have two bodies that look exactly like your original body. Which one is you? It seems obvious, you might think, that it's the original particle body and not the duplicate particle body that's you. But then confusion arises when we also imagine that, well, the original particle body, all the memories are erased. And so the person on the other side doesn't remember anything. And now clearly you, and I guess I, don't know what to think. You've heard these things before. They get even more perverse. Take that cat on the mat over there. Let's call it cat. Now imagine, or think of, cat minus a few hairs from its left forepaw. We're not going to remove the hairs. Just think of all the cat except for those few hairs. Call that cat minus. Cat minus is every bit as cat-like as cat. So it would appear that we now have two cats on the mat. Cat and the large portion of cat called cat minus. And now you can imagine where that's going. Well, let's take cat except for the whole left forepaw. Call that cat super minus. That's different from cat minus and cat, yet it also seems to have a good title to being a cat. After all, cats can survive the loss of a forepaw. So now it seems we have three cats on the mat, and it continues until you realize you've been forced to the conclusion that there are indefinitely many cats on one mat. A very bizarre result and disturbing, especially if you have allergies. Now, one might think that when these questions are so strange, anything goes. It doesn't matter how we answer. You're the one without the memories. No, there's only 5 cats on the mat. It doesn't matter. After all, philosophy, you might think, is only a matter of opinions. And you know what they say about opinions? Like torsos, everyone's got them. Is it torsos? Anyway, you know what they say about opinions. So you might think, it doesn't really matter. Philosophy is all just a matter of opinions. But the philosophers here know that's definitely not the case. There are these rules that we hold ourselves to, the rules of logic, rules regarding what follows from what claims are consistent with what other claims, what counts as good evidence for a certain proposition, what counts as evidence against it. And we need to stick to those rules. And one thing you all have learned is how to master those rules and become excellent critical thinkers. And I must admit that pushed you very hard in developing your critical thinking skills. You've been put through the ringer, I realize. It's not uncommon for the friends and family to hear this. It's not uncommon for the students to receive very harsh comments on their papers, and I've done it too. I remember comments like I'm reading, "That does not follow. Explain!" Exclamation, exclamation. "Please try to be clearer." "No." I did that recently. "No!" Exclamation. "You've contradicted yourself. Every other claim you've made is false." Actually, that one's from a review of one of my papers. Anyway, clearly not just anything goes. Yet, ironically, while they've been forced by us to write with the greatest clarity and precision and logical rigor, they've also had to struggle with some terribly unclear, almost impenetrable passages from the philosophers themselves. Here are a couple of those mind-numbing sentences that you all have been forced to read and try to interpret. You can buzz in when you think you know the answer, who the author is. The original and necessary consciousness of the identity of the self is thus at the same time a consciousness of equally necessary unity, of the synthesis of all appearances according to concepts. That is, according to rules, this is one whole sentence, which not only makes them necessarily reproducible, but also in so doing determines an object for their intuition. That is, the concept of something wherein they are necessarily interconnected. You got that? That's a long sentence, but even the very short ones are often very difficult to interpret. You might remember this. Phenomenology means to let that which shows itself be seen from itself in the very way in which it shows itself from itself. WT. Anyway, for most of our graduates, these are passages they first confronted at the upper division. But even when they were just freshmen, they had to deal with this old classic, which you'll all remember. If that than which nothing greater can be conceived exists in the understanding alone, yay, the very being than which nothing greater can be conceived is one than which a greater can be conceived. Now they realize that that one is a stroll in the park compared to the other two. So yes, our graduates have worked very hard, contemplating deep and abstract issues while also being forced to interpret the famous authors who have expressed their thoughts in exceedingly difficult ways, not very helpful, and at the same time being forced to express their own thoughts with great clarity and precision, while at the same time trying to be insightful. This is extremely hard work. Your perseverance and dedication to this very hard job of doing philosophy is most commendable. I should point out in closing that not all philosophical issues are as esoteric and divorced from ordinary life as the ones I mentioned before. So I want to close by mentioning a few. Professor Barboni mentioned some too. These are obviously quite relevant and important to our lives. And these are topics our graduates also have thought quite a lot about in developing their logical skills. Questions like, when is killing morally justified? Can one live a meaningful life as an atheist? Do non-human animals have rights? Can a person survive the death of her body? Is there really such a thing as race? If we fail to alleviate famine, are we acting immorally? Are there non-humans that count as persons? Can a machine really think and feel? Do we have obligations to unborn future generations, for instance, to leave behind a habitable planet? What counts as good evidence for believing that something is true? What would it take to have world peace? As good critical thinkers, our graduates are more qualified than most to find the answers to these questions, and I hope they'll continue to share their answers with us. Congratulations very much. And Yazarelli Gonzalez, you've done some very impressive things. 2 majors, philosophy and anthropology, and a minor in psychology, not just the how do you feel kind of psychology, but behavioral cognitive neuroscience. So many units, and yet maintaining such an extremely high overall GPA. And I was amazed to learn this. Also, while working a full-time job throughout, I have no idea how you did it. And as the first to graduate college in your family, well, again, congratulations, it's amazing. Well done to all the graduates. Cheers.
Thank you, Professor Francis Scotti, for sharing some insights, for helping remind us some of the fun questions, some of the fun passages, some of what we went through in our classes, what our students have gone through, letting their friends and family members know just what kind of stuff is it that they're doing in their work. Thank you. Our next honoree is an MA student. The MA students in the department's tradition choose from among themselves one that they wish to represent the whole group, one that they think in some way, his or her own way, merits some special recognition. I will introduce Tani Whaley. She, I think, has done very much for the department, not just earning good grades and being wonderful to have in the classroom, but for organizing reading groups, organizing speakers to come to campus, helping set a real tone of community for us all. I'm very glad to recognize Tani Whaley.
Hi, everyone. I'm not going to apologize for crying, as women apologize too much in society. So I'm not going to apologize for all the emotions I'm going to feel, but I'm going to feel them freely. And I hope that you all do too. Yazarelli, we have very similar stories, and I'm really glad that you were recognized today for your hard work. I think that's an incredibly powerful story. I'm also first generation college in my family, and I did psychology and philosophy. And so it's really neat to see somebody kind of go through something very similar to me. And so I just wanted to congratulate you. It's a big deal to get that bachelor's degree, and you conquered it. And I can't wait to see what you do going forward. So just want to start there. I want to say thank you to everyone that's here. What a wild 15 months, huh? I'm a millennial, so I'm 31, I'm a millennial. I've gotten the chance to live through 2 once-in-a-lifetime economic crisis, 9/11, and a global pandemic. I am the generation that is tired. We are tired, we are poor, and now, we decide to go into philosophy. As you know, it's a very lucrative job opportunity. We have tons of job opportunities pouring our way, and we're all very, very rich. So I'm really happy that that's the decision that we've made. I'm kidding, parents, for all the friends and family here. I'll make it better in a minute, I promise. I want to say thank you to my peers. To be able to be nominated to speak in front of all of you is an incredible thing. I honestly, in order for you to understand what this means to me, I kind of have to start at a different point. I didn't know I was going to graduate high school till the day before graduation. I was not academically an impressive student. I went to school to go to theater. I did theater to go to school. That is what I did. That is all I cared about. That's what it was. I figured I could just get a job, make some money, live a life. Great, that's fantastic. I worked retail for a long time. If you've worked retail, you understand that that's not a sustainable thought or feeling in your heart or soul. You've never had the chance to work customer service. I implore you to have this opportunity. It is literally miserable. And so one day I decided I needed to do something more. So I went to the local community colleges here in San Diego. We have impressive, fantastic community colleges. And without that support system from a junior college in San Diego, I would not be here today. I decided I was going to pick through the book, and I fell on two different things: psychology of women and philosophy of human nature. And I just took them, and I fell in love with both. And through my journey, I decided, okay, psychology is really fun. There's a lot of really fantastic things happening here. I get to learn about the brain. I loved social psychology. I loved figuring out why people behave the way that they do. I had incredible visions on trying to be able to have a voice in trying to solve racism and sexism and all of these very heavy-hitting topics. And I decided to transfer to SDSU with my path being psychology. I minored in philosophy. The first conversation I ever had with Dr. Franciscotti was, hey, I'd like to be a minor in philosophy. And he said, what classes are you taking? And at the time I was taking philosophy of science with Dr. Tom Weston. And if you've never taken a philosophy of science course, let me brace you for that. It is not what you think it is. It is a lot of physics. Now, I don't do physics and I don't do numbers. So it was a lot of physics till the end, and it was biology, and it was a great, great time, and conquered the course, and I felt pretty great. And over time, I kind of realized that while psychology was really fun, the competition in that field is actually absurd, and I wasn't finding the same type of fulfillment. Like Steve said, it's about asking certain questions, and I couldn't ask those questions the way I wanted to ask them. I could do that though in philosophy. I felt that door kind of open in philosophy. I was able to get through my undergraduate degree, and the only reason that I applied for an advanced degree is honestly the faculty and staff. There were questions that I had that hadn't been answered yet. I needed to ask them. I'm still always asking them. Funny enough that we talk about what we define. I have so many friends in here right now who are like, yeah, that's it. I asked them to define immortality for me one day. And one evening, our conversation in our Discord group got really, really muddy, as they were all very pissed off at me that I would not agree with their definitions. If we're going to talk about metaphysics, if we're going to play in the sci-fi realm, I wanted clear defining terms. Ultimately, I knew that this is where I was supposed to end up. And for the first time in my life, I felt like I had a family. I felt like I had a home that was away from maybe that built family of blood. And so SDSU is my home. You all are my family. And that is such an incredibly big thing. And that's why I kept going. I believe right now, philosophy is the only discipline that can ever try to not only ask the right questions, but find the right answers. We live in a world right now where there is police brutality, where people of different races and genders are being discriminated against constantly. We have Black Lives Matter protests just to have basic human dignity. I believe that philosophers should be not only at the forefront, but they should be the loudest in trying to solve these problems. That is why I keep going here. And it is not without the fantastic faculty that has allowed for me to be able to find that voice that I am here. Oftentimes, every single philosophy major here has been asked by our friends or family, well, what are you going to do with a philosophy degree? Well, the answer is actually kind of simple. You're going to change the fucking world. Sorry, parents. That's what you're going to do. You're going to go out, you're going to ask hard questions. You're going to take your critical thinking skills. You're going to not talk over others, but you're instead going to learn to build coalitions to change lives. That is what philosophers do. This last 15 months has taught me so much. We're resilient. We care about people and community. And I have oftentimes asked myself, what do we owe other people? What do we owe each other? And honestly, it's love, it's compassion. It's getting your damn vaccine if you haven't gotten it already. It's asking and answering these hard questions and caring about others. It's pulling people who have been voiceless for so long up. I oftentimes wonder at the same time if I'm ever going to write my divorce letter to philosophy, as I often get angry with the discipline. Many of you know that I am the loud, rambunctious graduate student in our department, and so this is not a surprise. I don't want our discipline to die out after 2,500 years going pretty strong. But the humanities are something that our leadership doesn't believe needs to be taught. In a post-truth world, it should be incredibly clear why philosophers are the most equipped to handle the challenges of the world. And ultimately, I believe that we have that responsibility. We're the ones that can do this. That's genuinely what I feel. The past 15 months have been hard. We've lived in these boxes. I hate this damn box. I know we all hate this, but we've been able to show community with one another. Graduate students teaching faculty members how to use Zoom technology, Canvas, making sure that we're all prepared. Honestly, that's what it's about. This has been a hard 15 months, and I wish I am very extroverted and I'm very much a hugger. I wish that I could just touch every human soul here and squeeze the life out of them for a moment, as that's what I'm honestly emotionally feeling needs to have happen. Sorry to all the non-huggers. But ultimately, I just want you all to know that while there doesn't need to be a divorce letter written to philosophy, I hope that all of us in whatever position we are in can raise women's voices up, women of color especially. I hope that we can get more queer voices in philosophy. I hope that we have more Black, Indigenous, and people of color who are putting their thoughts, their critical critiques out on the line. Philosophy needs this. And if not, we aren't going to continue to exist. It can't just be old white men forever. Sorry, old white men, you can still stay, but we need more. And it's really important that we find ways to uplift our marginalized brothers and sisters to the forefront of the conversation. So please, that is my passionate plea to you all as educators, as critical thinkers, to pull people up and give people that platform to speak who may have not had that opportunity before. I know that this is kind of heavy, some of the stuff that I talked about, but to take some pages out of good old Judith Butler, sometimes complicated conversations require complex conversations to kind of go with them hand in hand. Sometimes it's hard, but it's necessary, and it's necessary hard work. Because I have the platform, I'm going to start saying my thanks to everyone. This is in no particular order, and to the graduate students that are here, whether you are undergrad or graduate, I hope that you say whatever it is you need to say, because this is your time. And it's incredibly important for you to have that moment to just give thanks through a long, crazy year and a long, crazy, graduate or undergraduate journey. Tom Weston isn't here that I can see. I want to thank him because ultimately he taught me to value my labor power. He made a strong Marxist feminist out of me. And he absolutely opened the door to being able to feel like I could be fostered in this philosophic community. I want to thank Dr. Oricto. Although I have never gotten the opportunity to work explicitly with her, her work with the Charles Wei Sun Fu Foundation with the Student Research Symposium gives philosophers a chance to feel like their work actually matters to these research symposiums. Oftentimes when we go, it feels like they only care about the cures for cancer, and listen, that's really important, but the work we do is also incredibly important. And without Dr. Oricto, we would not get the deserving praise that we need, the award, that recognition. I've been fortunate enough to win that award twice, and both times it has meant literally everything to me. I want to thank Araceli. Araceli helped foster an environment in which pedagogy was so much fun to learn, how to figure out how to teach, but she also gave my cohort a chance to be as strong and wonderful as we actually are. She fed us. I'm so sorry for those of you who had to take her course online. She fed us every Wednesday. And listen, meals are like, that's right. That like, listen, getting together and eating meals with your friends and family, like there's nothing greater than that. And Araceli instilled that in us, and our cohort, our seven, our group of 7, those are lifelong friendships that were built out of Araceli's course. Her support is bar none. To Joe Sermondo, thank you so much for your mentorship. It honestly has meant so much to me to have somebody say, you are doing the work and you are doing damn good work. Because sometimes it just feels like you're kind of running up the hill forever. And it's been so fantastic. Our work together was accidental. I happened to be in the office at the right place at the right time, being like, hey, I'd love to make some extra money as an ISA, what's going on? It was an accident, and it is genuinely by far my favorite accident. Getting to work with you has been foundational. I have learned so much about ethics, biomedical ethics, the things that I want in my life, coalition building, and how to be an ally. And I couldn't have done that without you. Okay, Dr. Draz, Dr. Marie Draz, if you all have not taken a course with her, you fucked up. Sorry, it's the truth. Dr. Draz taught me what it was to be an actual feminist, an actual ally. She has taught me what it means to dismantle the patriarchy, to tear down colonization, and to really look at the web of the world that we are living in. She exposed to me philosophy that I didn't know existed and has foundationally changed my life. The first paper I have ever put forth for publishing was a paper I wrote for her class entitled Shame and Gender Violence for Marie's Class Feminist Philosophy. I am waiting now. The reviewers have reviewed. I'm waiting for a decision. So we'll see how it goes. Marie has listened to me rant about things that I think are really important, and she has also told me to slow down. What is it that you want to say? Pull the thread out. What are we talking about? And those have been foundational for me. And if it wasn't for those hard conversations, if it wasn't for her just saying, okay, well, what is it that we're doing? I wouldn't have ever gotten to that place. Steve, you are the graduate student's philosopher dad, all of us. You have literally always been there. I have busted through your office door, even when it's just a crack open, to say hello, to end up talking to you about everything, anything, all the things. You have been at every single reading group that I have ever put together, even if it is Foucault and maybe that's not your wheelhouse, you've been there. You have always been encouraging. You have always made sure that whatever we have needed as graduate students is there. I go to bargain that you are probably on almost every single person's committee here. You're welcome. I didn't ask you. I know you have so much other things to read right now. You are on everyone's committee. You have time that I don't understand where it comes from. You are always there to meet on Zoom, to help problem solve, and to help make sure that we are facilitated the best that we can. Kim is not here, but I have to say thank you to Kim. She has helped me try to make this department more feminist. She has helped me in finding out how to pay for things, which you guys don't understand is such a very important, hard task to do. She has helped me with getting rooms. We have been able to conquer so much with the department through Kim's hard work, and I love her very much, and I'm so glad that I have been able to call her a friend. Last but not least for faculty, Rob. I made a joke a long time ago that you were my philosopher dad, and I guess I can let you in on the joke. You, like Azarelli said, slow down. What's going on? What are you talking about? These are such important questions that seem so simple. I have, over the last 4 years, gotten the chance to work with you, to watch you teach. Your pedagogical style is bar none. I know that you went to school with Eric Olson, but that guy's caca. You are a fantastic teacher. You inspire students literally every single day. You are always there. You listen to me rant just as much as the rest of the faculty. Your support has made this program so much easier. And I am so happy to have had your mentorship. And I continue to hope that I have that until the end of time. For all of my friends and family, to my cohort, to my graduate buddies, I love you guys so much. It's ridiculous. It's genuinely ridiculous. I am protective over all of you. I can't wait to see where you all go. I'm so happy for everything that we've gone through, every graduate room, too many grad students packed into a tiny office, laughing and drinking coffee and eating together and finding great ways to just exist in some tough times, to talking about how angry we were that we had to read over 100 and something pages for one course while we all sit there reading together, writing our annotated bibliographies in a fury. Your time with me has been bar none the best thing that I've ever experienced. And I'm so happy to have lifelong friendships with all of you. To my Orange Grove family who is here, and many of them right now, thank you for your support. You all have been fantastic. To my mom who is here, I am not here without my mom's hard work and dedication. My mom has shown up to SRS research symposiums. She has no idea what I'm talking about sometimes, and that's totally fine. She has been at everything that I've ever done as a child. She has been the reason that I've been able to continue my degrees, my advanced degrees. My mom's hard work and dedication to her children is literally bar none. I have the best damn mom in the world, and without her, I am nowhere. She didn't know she was going to raise a firecracker who was going to ask way too many questions and challenge her in every instance. But here we are, and I think it's for the best. To the class of 2021, we did it. It's great. You all are going to kick ass and take names. Thank you so much to my peers for recognizing me for this. Thank you to all of my mentors. Thank you to all of the faculty and staff. We're nowhere without all of your hard work and dedication. Thank you so much.
Brava, brava. Thank you for your kind, in some cases, at least mine, I know, overly generous words. For the others, yeah, you hit it right on. Thank you, Tawny. But now comes the part that I think most people really want. I wish we could be together so that I could invite you to join me, shake your hand, have proud parents and family members there with cameras ready to take a picture, give you the keepsake from the department. Yeah, thanks COVID, but this is what we're gonna do. I will recognize each attendee. I'm going to try to go in alphabetical order, and I know I'm going to fail. So if I skip you, send me a note in chat, or perhaps send Dr. Draz or Dr. Stamando a note in chat so that we can get back on track. I apologize that I will, I'm sure, miss somebody who is here, but we'll do our best. I invite each person to say a few words. It's not required, but if you'd like to, please share with us. Whoops, going the wrong way, sorry. Our first student that I believe was here, I hope she is still here, is Tia Abusham. Tia is one of those students one of those philosophy students who certainly got into med school. Tia, are you still with us, or did you have to go? Oh. Sorry, I think she had to leave us. We have heard from her already, but we honor her again. I think I've made a mistake with my slides. No, yes, I have. Yazarelli Gonzalez. So Yazarelli, would you like to add any words?
Yeah, actually, I was about to send a direct message to Tani, and I just want to say thank you for her words. Tani, thank you. It was beautiful, and everything you said had a lot of impact. So I know this was supposed to be like some words about, I don't know, but I just wanted to use this opportunity to say thank you to Tani a little bit more personally, so she could hear my voice saying thank you. That was just amazing. But also thank you for everybody, all the students who also helped me, just, understand things in class and just made everything fun. And that's about it.
Thank you. I believe Alex Loop is with us. Alex, are you here? Will you share any thoughts with us? Perhaps he will join us in some moments and can say something then. We have our next student, I believe, is here. She has provided us with a nice photograph, something to say. But Karen Murillo, will you like to say anything? No, you're going to be shy? That is okay. It is part of the wise woman to know when to speak, but also, if she doesn't have something to say, when not to. Congratulations. Thank you. Joe Ben Newlid, are you with us? Will you like to share something? Not seeing him pop up on the screen. Okay, another graduate that I believe is present or was present is Rhoda Sauer. Are you with us? No. Okay. Maria Skinner. Okay. Judson Stern, are you with us? Would you like to address us?
Of course. Yeah, I wanted to say thank you for everyone, Yazarelli and Tani. You guys did a great job. Truly, it's been a humbling experience working with everyone, and I'm really honored to be part of this group.
And we're very glad to have you as part of this group. Now, it could be that there are other BA students present that I failed to recognize. So please make yourselves known. I'll tell you, I called the names I did because these are the people that I had been told had been present or were coming. Well, we have then some MA students. But I think my computer has frozen, so I am unable to, our list of MA students, many of them are with us, many of them are unable, timing is not always great to be with us. Jennifer Alvarado is the first student we should like to recognize. Do you want to say a few words, Jennifer?
Sure, thank you. So I put a lot of stuff on this slide, not expecting to. I'm completely moved by our two speakers, Whaley and Yaraseli. I hear a lot of their same story in mine. I completely am moved by Yasareli's story. I keep saying that wrong. I'm so sorry. But that you are a full-time employee plus doing all of your coursework. I feel you on that because I did the same thing both in my BA and my master's. So if you did it in your BA, you certainly can do it in a master's. And I hope everybody has highly encouraged you to do the same. I have to say thank you so much to all of the professors and my classmates and everyone that I've been in a class with or seen in the hallways. For whatever reason, your presence has given me a lot. Barboni,
Mhm.
like I can't even say enough. You and Dr. Wyricko were the two people that looked at me at, kind of sideways and said, "Why are you not in the master's program?" So I have to acknowledge both of you in your support and your encouragement in being foundational in my academic confidence. Sorry. uh, each one of you professors have given me something. Ooh, sorry, that I'm taking with me. Steve Barboni, you gave me Anselm. That has stuck with me. So, I did cheer for that when Francis Gotti brought it up. So you gave me that. That was in my BA. Dr. Draz. Uh, I'm a closet feminist because of you. I didn't know that I was a feminist until you came along. You gave me Maria Lugones. She passed last year, so it was amazing to read her work in your classes. And why am I crying so much? Her quote that stays with me: "The task of remembering one's many selves is a difficult but liberatory task." I'm taking that with me. I'm putting it in my pocket. I'm figuring out all of the spaces of who I am. And that's thanks to you. Dr. Wyricko, you and the Food Foundation, I cannot say enough. You're why I'm here. Yeah, it would have never crossed my mind had you not come along. So I'm very grateful. And each one of you as professors has given me a little bit to take with me. And I'm gonna stop crying now. But thank you to my mom, thank you to my boyfriend, who have listened to me talk about all of these strange topics and bringing them home and talking about them. Thank you to Dr. Neuner for giving me the experience and the opportunity to teach a philosophy course. It was amazing this semester. Yes, I was behind a screen, but I had a ton of fun. And hopefully some of these students were in my class. They were phenomenal. And again, another experience I'll take with me. If I forgot anyone, I will apologize for that. I'll find you, not in a bad way, but I'll find you and I will say my thanks to you directly. It's been an experience for those of you that are finishing your bachelor's degree. These professors have created an incredibly safe and nurturing space. If you're considering doing a master's, this is a place to be. I guarantee you will not regret it. Thank you so much to everyone. I have to get back to my job now. But thank you. Thank you so much for everything. I'll be seeing you around.
Thank you, Jennifer. I think you students need to know something. Many of you thank your instructors, but really, when you teach and you have a good student, it's the delight of the teacher. So thank you all. We have a few more MA students to recognize. One is Denise Antonio. And Denise, I think I saw you around. Oh, I see your picture now. Would you like to say anything?
Yeah, I never in my life would have imagined that I would have, even pursued any sort of academic career, anything dealing with academia. And really, I think that my main motivation was, most of like I had my kids when I was, my first kid at 19. So I didn't think I could ever really do anything with a kid. And so that's, I've kind of broken those sort of barriers and statistics that people tend to, throw at me and have thrown at me throughout the years. I also couldn't do it, without the support of like my, amazing partner who is always there and who, whenever I needed anything, he was like, okay, you need to do this, we need to do it. And has always supported everything I needed to do. My parents, because they always push education on me, and it was something that I couldn't, something that I guess I might have taken for granted growing, when I was a teenager, but learned to really appreciate everything once I got into academia. And really just my kids, because it's, without them, I really wouldn't be here. I push myself constantly. And I try and be the person that they kind of look up to with everything. And I also want to, I think that all the professors here in this program, I want to thank first, and I've mentioned this to this person before, but Gabby and Tawny, when I first was deciding on what schools to go to, I emailed different people, and they were the only two people who replied to me and were so kind. And I thought, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm at home. And so they really provided that space for me, and that, to feel like I belong somewhere, especially as someone who is Latina, who is doing work that normally a lot of people don't tend to do work in. And so they really pushed me to continue to work on these areas and with these issues. Professor Francis Gotti, Dr. Steve Barboni, Professor Neuner, all of you are amazing and wonderful professors. But I have to give also a special thank you to Professor Draz, who, I didn't think that any of the stuff that, I was doing or working on was useful or that could be considered philosophy. And she, time after time, emphasized that my work was valuable, that my voice had value to it, and that my point of view, was something that could be respected. And that's something that continues to push me and continues to make me, the person that I am, and to continue with philosophy in a field that, it's constantly difficult, in a field that's very, male and white dominated. And so thank you all for all of the, wonderful memories here. And I'm just excited to see what everybody has in store for them in the future. Thank you all.
Very kind and generous words. We'd like to recognize also Austin Kosler, sorry. And he's prepared a short little video that I will get to share with you. I haven't seen it yet, so.
I didn't do that.
You didn't do that?
No.
I'm sorry, my mistake. Austin, did you prepare a slide for us and I messed up?
Yeah, I sent a few pictures and just like a little quote with the interest, but it doesn't matter. More importantly, I just want to thank the professors here who I have had for allowing me to be academically creative. I always felt welcome to explore regardless of the class. I think that's something that was very important to me throughout my studies here. That's about it. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you, Austin, for sharing. My apologies for confusing this slide. I know with us too, we have our new philosophy dad, Nick Ford, but he might have had to have left for a moment. And when I see he comes back, perhaps he will share some words with us.
Do you want to share that slide, Steve? That's Denise's that she prepared for us.
It's Denise's, my error. I'm sorry, I screwed up. Denise, you're on. Thank you, Denise. That was wonderful. I apologize for being so mixed up. I see, or at least he was here, Dustin Gray. Dustin, I almost hesitate to ask if you have some words you want to share, but are you still with us? Do you want to share anything with us? Perhaps.
Yeah, I just want to say congratulations to everyone, and I miss and love you all.
Thank you, Dustin. You're very kind. Tiffany Harrington, I see that you are with us. Will you like to address us in any way?
Yes, so thank you to Professors Barboni. Thank you to Tani and to Yazzarelli. But thank you to all the faculty in the department, especially Professor Barboni, Professor Neuner, and Francis Scotti. So it was, and to all the graduate students. It's really been a good experience teaching in the department, teaching the Phil 200. And so, so thank you to all the faculty and the graduate students. Thank you.
You're kind to remember so many of us. I see our philosophy daddy. He's a new dad. Nick Ford has come back. Nick, would you like to say anything to us?
I am way too tired to try to say anything comprehensive. Just thank you for everyone for everything. This has been just the most amazing experience, and yeah, I don't know. I'm a man of few words.
Yes. For those who do not know, Nick is a new father, a very new father. But he's still upright is pretty good here. Michael Lynn, I think you are here, and oops, sorry. I don't know how to stop.
This is fantastic, but you can't just hit next where you were and you could keep going.
Oh my gosh, classic.
Oh, this is great.
Sorry about that. I'm still technologically inept. I'm going to try again. We'll see what happens. Oh, back to Austin. Okay. Well, Austin, we recognized you earlier. But maybe now you want to say something else because we have your wonderful photo here.
I don't really have much to say other than what came into my mind. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was trying to help you give me a save me here because
okay, that quote is important to me because a former professor of mine who recently passed away would repeatedly say that. His name was John Powell. And I think that is just a testament of the impact that professors play in students' lives. And yeah, I'm just gonna leave it with that. So that's it. So thanks Steve and Joe and Sandra, especially for reading my paper time over and again. So yeah, thanks.
A pleasure for us. Let's see if I can do this Michael Lynn thing. Apparently not.
You can skip him if you like.
Perhaps I have. No, my error. I thought there was a Michael Lynn slide. But Michael, do you have any words that you'd like to share?
It depends on how I might be able to define the word.
You'll have to define it for us.
All right, if I may, to just be frank for a moment, because I'm usually Michael. So to be frank, I've been spent the last several months studying sort of computer science and programming, and not really, and so I feel very out of touch at the moment. But when I often get asked what I might do with a philosophy degree, I think of I can't really make give a good answer without making a comparison. So if I may, I find in theory, when I'm studying programming languages, it's harder than just the theories that we study in philosophy. It is that, to me, that is true. It is comparatively more complex and difficult to study how to talk to computers and not people. But in application, I find it infinitely harder to, instead of making a program, a software work, a software either works or it doesn't, but in application to how to conduct oneself and be a good person, that's something that I'm not even sure if I'm ready for, even with a degree in philosophy. Which is why I think I've learned many things here, and I'm sure that helps me, even if just partially. So thank you for all the professors that have taught me much, as also the cohort. I am indebted to you all.
Thank you, Michael. I suspect even without philosophy, you still might turn out to be okay and a good person. But thanks for thinking that we might have something to do with it. Anjali Tandon. At least I got the slide up right, so I know it's you.
Thank you. I wanted to say thank you to every single person in my cohort for being the camaraderie that I didn't even know I needed throughout these years. And I wanted to say thank you to my parents for still being supportive, even after I said I wanted to get a master's in philosophy. And I'd like to say thank you to all my professors, Dr. Neuner, Dr. Barboni, Dr. Francis Gotti, Dr. Warritko, for just being the best teachers a student could ask for all the way around on all fronts. So thank you to everyone.
Thank you, Anjali. I think I have this right. Gabrielle Peñaranda, will you want to say anything to us? You helped make this whole thing possible, so people should know that. But what else should they know?
Well, I want to thank Yesarelli for her reflection and inspiring story. And I do want to thank you, Steve, just for this presentation, for your thoughtful words and truly exceptional Zoom and PowerPoint skills. They truly are exceptional. Thankfully, we prepared and emotionally for any technological difficulties that this presentation might happen. So that was fun, and I did get a laugh out of that. Thank you, Professor Franciscotti, for your words, your metaphysics lecture and pop quiz. I really enjoyed that. And Tani, as always, thank you for your passion and your friendship and the words that you shared with all of us today, and your emotion as well. It was, yeah, meeting Tani for the first time at the orientation, I knew that she was somebody to befriend and that she was gonna make this experience at SDSU very special and very interesting and just memorable, and would be a friend. So I knew that from the beginning. I think one of the first things I said to Tani was that we should get Filipino food, because she said she lived in Mira Mesa. And I kind of remember exactly this in the conference room we were sitting, and I said I was Filipino, and she said she lives in Mira Mesa and we can go get Filipino food. So I want you to know that I remembered that. And you can hold me to that, and we can go out and get food now. So I was thinking, I wasn't going to say anything, but I was thinking, okay, I will say something, and I wasn't sure what direction I should go in this speech. And my brother, who is not here, I think he left the Zoom, really wanted me to say something, and he wanted me to do an extemporaneous philosophical investigation into Christopher Nolan's 2020 film Tenet, about time and entropy. So actually, interestingly enough, I actually think that that's interesting. So I'll start with that. So entropy can be succinctly described as the lack of order or predictability within a system. And I actually think that describes me very well. So I kind of started off really with this master's just saying I was going to do it for funsies. Really, literally had said that when anyone asked. And it has turned out that way. So it has been a lot of fun, but it has also been very meaningful and impactful in my life. And I have found the path that I want to go down during my time here at SDSU. So it has been so much fun, and it has also been very meaningful and special. I was thinking I might end up doing some kind of weepy emotional expression of my gratitude to the entire philosophy department and my family and my friends. That's still possible. I might still be talking a little bit more, and I might tear up. And then of course I just figured, well, maybe I'll just be humorous and just deflect my feeling of gratitude and just immense joy at being part of this department and having made lifelong friends here. So all of those three directions I decided to go down during this. But I just really want to thank everyone who is here and all of my professors. I don't want to miss out on anyone, but I want to especially thank Steve and Marie and Esme, who's not here, I somehow convinced them to recommend me for doctoral programs. So thank you for that. And apparently they did such a great job, and my application was great that I am going to one. So thank you. I want to thank Araceli, who, yes, we all considered our philosophy mom, especially Dustin, who literally called her mom, and I will never forget that during class. And she fed us. So that was, yeah, she literally nourished our minds and our stomachs. So I want to thank you for helping me realize that I don't suck at logic, but that I can do it, and that I could potentially even be good at it. So thank you. I even for all the professors who I didn't take a class with, all of the other graduate students and colleagues here, you shape the department. So even if I didn't get the chance to take a class with you, just being part of this department has been very special. And I see, and when I talk to my classmates and my colleagues, I know how influential all of the faculty have been. I finally want to thank Paul, my partner, who is sitting over there, and he's watching this from the screen. which I guess he could be sitting next to me, but I don't know why we decided to sit separately. I want to thank him because he's literally told me how he's seen my mind change and how my thinking has changed since beginning this program. So I want to thank him for his patience and how we've had increasingly more philosophical conversations over the years and how they've become very heated and intense. And I literally always start with, well, how do we define this? So thank you all to the faculty for inspiring these very heated debates and conversations in my home with my partner. But it's been great. So thank you to everyone, all of my friends. It's been such an amazing time, and I'm so thankful to be part of this department.
We are thankful you are part of this department. Tawny Whaley, we have to recognize you. You are one of our MA students. Do you have any other things to add?
I said quite a bit before. Thank you to all the faculty and stuff again. I really, really want to again thank my Orange Grove family that is in here. A lot of the names that you see at the bottom are people that I've been spending literally every single day of the pandemic with over the last year on Discord. That is the only reason that I was functionally and cognitively available to teach, exist in time and space, have any kind of thoughts or feels. If it wasn't for my Orange Grove fam, I wouldn't be here. So that is a really big deal to me. And also to my partner, Richard Island. He's been with me for 12 years. He's dealt with this for 12 years, you guys. You don't understand. It's really bad. I am a very feisty human being. My mom always said that it was going to take an especially tolerant person to deal with me, and she is correct. Without his support, I might have given up on myself before, so I'm very happy to have a stable foundation. Also, thanks to all my animals that you guys can't see right here. Look at that. Look at that. My children, thanks to my children. They're very important to me as well. Thank you to everybody here. You guys are fantastic. And I'm a better person for being in the presence of every single one of you.
Thank you. It could be that I have somehow, with me, easily overlooked somebody. I don't wish that to happen. If you are here, and BA student, MA student, I have not been able to recognize you, let me know in chat or unmute yourself and holler. Not hearing hollering.
I'll holler. Congratulations, everybody. I'm really impressed with all of you. Just your wonderful, wonderful group of people. And I'm honored to be amongst you. And I wish all the best for those who are graduating now and those who are still working on theses and getting those things done. I feel your pain and your exuberance. So anyway, congratulations. And I look forward to seeing, hopefully, some of you coming in the fall and giving a big hug.
Anyone else I may have missed? And then I believe through the magic of Zoom that professors Draz and Stramondo, maybe with the help of Charles Duddy, but with the help of Gabby, have arranged for us to break out in small rooms.
Yeah, so I put this into chat, but I opened the faculty breakout rooms. Faculty, if you're willing to stick around for a few minutes and see if anyone would like to say goodbye to you individually, please click on the room, click join on the room with your name on it. And if you would like to say hello or goodbye to individual faculty members, select join for that room. You can then leave that breakout room and come back to the main room to join a different one if you'd like to say goodbye to more than one professor. We can go ahead and do that now. And congratulations, everyone.
Yay. Congrats, everyone. The recording will stop. Give some of us time to figure out how we get into our breakout rooms. So please be patient. Thank you, everyone. Congratulations to all our seniors and MA students. Stop recording.